Hey guys, this is Ray with US385, and today I'd like to talk about financial success. I've often talked with friends and family members alike in terms of financial success. It seems that for whatever reason, I'm truly remarkably blessed in that I've never really worried monetarily in terms of earning what I needed to earn my keep. And that's because I'm more than willing to go out of my way to help. And if you're good at doing something, you get paid for it. That's the way the world is. If you're good at something, you succeed. And in a lot of cases, I'm good at it. I've been very fortunate to also somehow have a mind that's able to accomplish things that um, I'm very fortunate to be able to think, the way that I do. It's helped me to work in IT. It's helped me to work building my own parts. It's helped me to coordinate multi-state destination trips with precision that's just almost unheard of. It's helped me to negotiate challenging situations, to be able to think on the fly. And so I'm blessed, and I've got to use that talent and that potential to do something that earns my keep. I always will. So, one thing that I've noticed as this journey has progressed is that we're all doing a lot of work, and we're all chipping in a lot of ways. But we're still kind of coming up short in a lot of places, and I'll get to that later. But in terms of the monetary success aspect of things, um, as long as I do something I'm capable of doing, then I'm gonna earn money to sustain the livelihood that it is that I'm after. And by that, what I mean is the livelihood that I'm after. And I'll say that a third time. I'm able to easily sustain the livelihood that I'm after because that's what I decided to limit my dreams to. And a lot of us are being led, or I should say misled, into so many multitudes of directions that our dreams are just flying off the shelves like an Amazon shopping cart, for an example, type of shelves. And so we're spending errantly on a lot of different things to where a lot of us are living paycheck to paycheck. I can only assume that that's true for a large segment of people who might be hearing this message right now, because that's how I was living, even though I was making a magnificent amount of money. And I can only assume the same is true among everyone that I know, because I'd be willing to bet that if I loan someone, whether it be $50 or 1,250 bucks, that I may or may not ever hear so much as maybe a barely a spoken thank you in some cases. And those are the kind of things that have led me to talk about this right now. So financial success, it's very important that my community succeeds financially, because if they don't, then you know how can they pay me for services that I offer? It's really all it comes down to. So we have to look out for one another. And I've noticed that money has not been a lesson that I've struggled too hard for, or too hard to overcome, in terms of the struggles that one normally faces when it comes to money. And I don't know what the main differences are between how money relates to me and how it relates to you guys. And I say you guys generally, I'm not saying it offensively, I'm just saying the people on the other side of the screen. So when I relate to money, I think about it in a way that's quite different at times from other people. And as an example, I've definitely spent a lot of money errantly, and I feel like most of us have. It's just that when I point it out, people get kind of offended about it. But it's a cycle. All of it's a cycle, and the cycle starts with becoming offended. So as I'm talking right now, even over the things that I said at the beginning of this, or that I might continue to say throughout this message, it might sound offensive, but if you were in a state where you could think a little bit more about the underlying words that I'm saying, and understand that what I'm delivering is a message that absolutely frees you from the chains of debt. If you want to break free from your debt, the first thing you have to do is stop being offended at things. We're all offended at a lot of different things. And so hearing these words shuts our own mind down, because in our mind, when we hear something that's offensive, we get to a point where we just simply tune out. And that tuning out process is something that we're used to doing because of the news. And so the more news that we watch and the more rhetoric that we spread around about politics and fear and this, that, and the other, the less in touch with ourselves we are. When we're out of touch with ourselves, we begin to treat ourselves with disrespect. And when we treat ourselves with disrespect, we overlook some of the things that we're doing that are actively hurting ourselves. So the first step to financial success is freeing ourselves from the debt that we have. But first, to overcome the physical debt, we have to overcome the mental debt that we have. And what that means is, right now, as you're in debt, you're feeling a certain way. You're like, my God, I can't believe this guy is saying this. It's almost like he's, calling me out or something like that. It's because I'm talking to myself in my former life. But right now, I'm fine. My credit cards are all set to pay the full balance no matter when it's due. I don't really care when my bills are due. They're going to get paid. That's just the way it is. It's how it's always been for me, because money is not my lesson. My lesson was something completely different. And we'll talk to that in a later chapter. Right now, the first thing I want to talk to you about is financial success. And the reason I want to talk to you about that is because I've noticed a lot of our financial success has just kind of been eroded. A lot of people are investing in a lot of things that have nothing to do with the time that you have or don't have. I'm going to repeat that. We're investing in a lot of things that have to do with something other than the time that we have or don't have. I don't know that I said it exactly the same, but it means the same thing. We're investing in things, really. Most of us have been investing in things for ever since we found out that it was easy to buy these things, especially when you have no interest financing plans. My friend and I, who I was talking with today, used to open up a multitude of credit cards, for the no interest financing plans, and we would basically get free stuff for it. That was the enticing offer. You'd sign up for a San Antonio Spurs credit card, you'd get a free t-shirt. So we would sign up at every single event for these credit cards, every one of them. But we still paid our balances in full, and that's kind of remained the same throughout time, except for when I got a little bit of a touch of consumerism, as I'll call it right now. That touch of consumerism led me to find a disturbing disassociation from how I felt before to now how I feel. How I felt before was a lot of doom and gloom and dread and drear, and I'm not a very expressive guy. So when I smile, it's normally it's you have to be there, and usually that's when I'm smiling. If you've felt a lot of doom and gloom, well, you might not be seeing the smile behind the screen, and I'm sorry I don't smile as much as I need to. Obviously, that's a part of my selling point, right? You want to know why should I listen to this crazy guy? Well, because I'm happy, and that's why I'm talking to you right now. This message is absolutely for you, especially if you think it's for you. Financial independence begins with the mental aspect of being in debt. You don't owe anybody except for yourself. You owe it to yourself to be the best you can be. And the way that you do that is by waking up and thinking, I have value. And that value comes from you, not from the employer who you're going to interview for when they give you that job in the future. That's why it's hard to interview and gain that success, because you're going in debt already. You need to go in gratitude. When you go in gratitude, a lot of amazing things happen. You go in gratitude and you already know that you're going to get the parking space in the front row at the place you go to. You go in gratitude and you know that there's going to be that black bear crossing the road when you tell your friend, look over here, or this is the first time you've been here, you're going to see this. You go there in gratitude. With some people, you see bears and cats at the same time. That's a rare thing. What's rarer still, though, is to have that story retold so that someone else is inspired the same way. What's unusual for me is that I'm trying to make a business based on getting people into nature so that they can experience peace and tranquility to think about these things, like the thing I'm talking about right now. The thing I'm talking about right now is financial independence, and I'm rephrasing and recapturing and re-saying that over and over so that you can understand how to break your chains of debt. I've never thought about being broke, to the point where I wouldn't be able to recover. I've always believed there's going to be a way out. Now, how can I relate that to something that's more commonplace? Let's go to the NBA, which I was a tremendous fan of when Michael Jordan was playing. That's another thing that my friend and I talked about today. Anyway, Michael Jordan always believed that no matter how far behind the team was, he could single-handedly defeat the opponents, the other 5 players on the other team. He believed it, and sometimes you saw that miracle come true. How is that? It's because other people believed it at the same time. Now, I believe in your financial success. I believe in your independence and breaking the chains of credit and debt. I believe in it. If you believe in it, suddenly there's 2 or more who believe. Then what? I don't know. If I were some kind of spiritual person or something, I would say, where 2 or more are gathered in my name, there am I in their midst. I believe in your financial independence, and so do you. If you didn't believe it, you wouldn't think about that possibility. But instead of thinking about it in a way where it's more like it's just me versus them, and that person doesn't understand, you need to view it a little bit differently, like that person understands, and somehow they figured out a formula of success, and they continue to maintain that same story and that candor and that approach, and that's driving them in a direction that's different from some of the other people who you know and hang out with regularly. Financial independence begins with breaking your chains of debt. The only thing that you owe is to yourself to break that chain of debt. That's it. That's all you need. So this is Ray with US385, and that's the biggest secret to breaking the chains of debt. I'll cover some other aspects, ask some questions, call me up, talk to me in person. Better yet, find a way to get some time to spend, and we'll spend it in some place of peace and tranquility. First trip's on me. How about that? I'll go that far. The only thing I ask is that you talk about the results afterwards, which should hopefully inspire other people to also break their chains of whatever their affliction is. I know it worked for me. It can work for you too. First step, the mental debt. Don't think about what other people think. Think about what you think. Think about how you feel. That's all there is to it. Talk to you later. Peace.